All right, back with another season preview with Nathan Brown. Brownie, having a look at Port Adelaide now, and a good year last year and a couple of ins to bolster their side.
Yeah, they certainly did. I'm really bullish on Port Adelaide this year, and some good inclusions as well. Oratio Fantasia from Essendon and also Alir from Sydney. I don't understand why Sydney gave up Alir. Every time he's played in defence up there, I thought his intercepting work was really good. He's a good decision maker by foot, and Oratio Fantasia just needs a clear run at injury. I mean, he was going to be a gun. He was a breakout player at the Bombers a couple of years ago. Then he had his injuries. So we've seen him play one practice match. And everyone's getting excited about Fantasia, but with good reason. I mean, he kicked 3 goals and he was in everything. So for me, Oratio Fantasia, massive pickup. If he can stay fit, Port Adelaide, they're looking good.
Oh, we'll start on Oratio Fantasia then. Do you see him playing as a half-back or forward like he did at Essendon?
I think playing as a forward, I think that's where Port Adelaide need to really put sides to the sword, because they've got so many options up forward. Obviously, they've got Charlie Dixon, who's their main number one, but then they've got so many rotating half forwards who can kick goals, good young players. Rosie obviously has got the injury concerns, but Butters can go forward. Dersma goes forward. Then you've got Fantasia, Georgiades, all these quick players who can run in. And if you've got 5 or 6 players who can kick 25, 30 plus goals, then the spread is so good. You're not too reliant on Charlie Dixon or a big player. So Oratio Fantasia, really important to Port this year.
Charlie Dixon fired at the start of last year, was an All-Australian lock by the halfway point. How does Port Adelaide get a more consistent performance out of him this year?
I thought Charlie Dixon had a great year last year. It was highlighted with a couple of performances where he kicked 6 in one game. But I don't think we look at Charlie Dixon and we judge him on goals, because he's more than that. He's a competitive beast. And they've got a player there that I don't think there's any other player in the competition as aggressive as Charlie Dixon. So, I mean, he is a player that just needs to bring the ball to ground if he's not going to mark it. And that's where Port Adelaide have got such an advantage. He's got so many good players at the feet of Charlie Dixon. He's going to kick 30 or 40 goals, but it's his aggression around the footy, being that get-out long kick down the line. So when they're held up at half back, that Charlie Dixon's the man they kick too long down the line. He's able to create that contest. Then if they don't get it, they set up with the ball up. So he's so important to them, other than just goals, Charlie Dixon. So Charlie Dixon for me is huge this year.
Last week we see Connor Rosie going for surgery, fly across to Sydney to get an operation on his foot. Do we think we'll see a difference in Port Adelaide without Connor Rosie in the side at the start of the year?
No, I don't think so. They've got so many players like Connor Rosie. I mean, they've got so many fleet-foot players. I think they've got the best youth department in the competition. You've got Rosie, you've got Dersma, you've got Butters, Georgiades going to be a good player. So they are stacked up with young talent. So Rosie will come back and he'll play a great season. But they've got so many players to cover at the moment. They bat deep. Fantasia comes in, which is a massive plus. But get Rosie back sooner than later, because he's a gun.
At the other end of the ground, their backline got a lot of compliments last year. Darcy Byrne-Jones, Dan Houston, Tom Cleary and Tom Jonas. How does Alir fit into that backline? And he makes them a formidable force, doesn't he?
Alir just makes them better. And every club wants depth. When you've got players who are playing in the twos, who are really good players that will be playing scenes at another football club, that's what Port Adelaide's going to have this year. If Alir is playing in the twos, and I probably don't expect him to, but that's great depth. Now, he's such a good intercept mark and he uses it well. They've got a great defensive end. I think they've got the best defensive end in the competition. They're 4 tall backs now for Port Adelaide. I think will get the job done most weeks.
All right, on to the predictions now, Brownie. You said you were bullish about him this year. Who do you see as the big improver at Port Adelaide?
Zach Butters. Zach Butters for me. I think his aggression around the football, I think he's going to take a quantum leap again this year, Zach Butters. He was great last year, but his aggression around the football for me is the standout. And you don't often get a player who's so aggressive, but then he is so silky skilled and he can do it. He can win it inside, he can win it outside, he can kick goals. Butters for me, watch out for him.
Who do you think the pressure's on at Port?
Pressure for me is on Ken Hinkley. They are ready, Port Adelaide. They have got such a good list at the moment. They are stacked with talent. This is a premiership list. Now the coach has to guide them into that premiership as well. Players need to do their bit, but the pressure comes on the coach.
I think last year they were the first team to go from start to finish at the top of the ladder. Do you see a similar performance this year?
They're my premiership tip this year, Port Adelaide. I think they can win the flag. I think they finish top 2 and win the flag.